Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Schiefer, and welcome to the MGTV hosted streaming solution webinar. We have a nice size audience on hand today, and we're excited to present this exciting program content to all of our audience members. Before we get started, I'm going to outline some key webinar structure information to make sure that everyone's webinar experience is of high quality. First off, we want to let everyone know that this session is being recorded, and that recording is going to be shared with all registrants following this meeting. The information will be communicated via an email to all the registrants and also promoted on Aureon's website. Second, we're going to keep audience members on mute in order to ensure that we don't have any challenges with our webinar audio. We will still field questions from our audience members, but we want everyone to know that we're going to field those questions via the chat window or the question window that's in your webinar experience. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to go into the question area and type those out and send them off. Those questions are going to be captured by myself and other administrators and asked at the end of the presentation. Also, questions asked during the session will also be captured in an FAQ document that will be communicated to all attendees at the same time as the recording. Sound good? Great, let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, my name is Tim Schiefer. I'm the Director of Product and Marketing at Aureon. And at Aureon, we have a unique mix of products that allow us to serve our customers in a deep, impactful manner. One of those solutions is the video product, where our digital entertainment television video streaming solution is available. Aureon works closely with Innovative Systems as a partner to position and deliver high quality video solutions to independent telephone companies, municipalities, and other video operators throughout the Midwest and across the United States. We have been a key partner and provider of video signal services to our clients for a long, long time. And our relationship with these clients is seen as a partnership, not just as a mere vendor relationship. The solutions that are going to be outlined today are going to be streaming services and packaging that's going to allow you to make well-informed decisions with regard to your organization's strategy and tactical activity on the video front. I'm going to pass the baton here to Jerry Weber, who is the VP of Voice and Video from Innovative Systems, and he's going to present today's content along with Chad Raymond, who is the product manager at Aureon, who oversees our video solutions. Together, Chad and Jerry are going to overview the evolving marketplace and summarize options that are available to all operators who are considering different options for their video services. Without further ado, here is Jerry Weber.
Tim, thank you very much. And Tim did state it that Tim, Chad, and the team really over the last couple of years have really been very intimate on trying to get to this hosted video product together. I think Innovative Systems is definitely a good partner, in this market. We've been in the video business now almost 15 years. I joined Innovative almost 7 years ago, and now I've got almost 2 decades of video experience, working in the IPTV world. I think I was actually sat in one of the first head-in meetings that Aureon had when they initially got into video in the early 2000s. Along with the video, we also have our AP Max voice product line. We also have got our OSS BSS Elation product and other development items or other product lines there with mapping, financials, bill printing. We recently just went over 200 team members as part of Innovative Systems, and definitely proud to be one of the privately owned, profitable and growing companies really since our founding. So with that, like I say, Chad and I have been working back and forth on projects continually for the past few years. And I'll go ahead and turn over to Chad to talk about the Aureon. Right. Well,
thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that. We've had video here at Aureon for quite a long time, it being one of the central missions to serve our shareholders who offer video to many of their rural subscribers. We've got a very full lineup to that end, almost 300 discrete channels. That's a signal that we need to keep going as much as possible every minute of every day, because otherwise we know that makes their phones ring. And the decision to be a subscription television provider is not one to be taken lightly, but it really helps you cement that relationship with that subscriber in your home. And that's what we've heard again and again from those shareholder companies that we support, and along with some of the other entities that we deliver service to, municipals and others that have joined onto the Aureon head end over the years. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Jerry to give you some continued overview on what's going on in the video industry itself.
All right, thanks, Chad. One thing that we started looking at, especially when I first actually joined the group, was we were getting dictated to us that OTT was taking over the world, that linear video is going to die as innovative systems, and having a product line in the video business. We really wanted to really take a look at, what was the rural market looking at doing with video, because that was our core business. The ILEX, CLEX, the small towns, those were who we were targeting, the tier 3 providers. And so we looked at reaching out with consultants out there, and wanted to really have somebody help us evaluate what was happening in the rural market. Now that we're 6 years into this, recently, just a couple weeks ago, Bernie over at Telecompetitor actually had a webinar going over this year's findings. And one thing with this study is we actually put a document together that we do provide out to service providers. So if you are interested in that study, feel free to reach out to myself or Scott Soboleski. We'll have our emails at the end of this presentation. This year's study did find that streaming video did grow significantly from last year. I think still kind of in the lockdowns, a lot of the streaming apps really stabilizing has definitely helped that. The thing we still see though is that the rural market is still slower than urbans. We're in this the 60 to 70% mark, where typically the urban areas are in the 80 to 90% mark when it comes to streaming. The one thing that we did get out of the study is local channels is still one of the biggest drivers, and that's maybe not music to the ears, being that the retrans agreements are always the highest cost content that's out there. But it is one of the big drivers. We have also seen that the average spending on video has continued to grow, and you can see the dollar amounts here. But the one thing that we've noticed with the trends is that typically the rural service provider, especially like cooperatives, typically undercharge. They work to have video at a break-even service. They undercharge for service. One thing we really have seen is that they don't charge for set-top boxes. Either putting them in, you provide one set-top box. We've talked to service providers that have provided up to 3 set-top boxes, and that's one thing that's probably the biggest difference between the big providers out there, is they typically charge for their devices and then also charge rental charges. We typically see $10 or more per box in the market. On this graph that you see here, it's really showing, like I said, the local channels is still a very popular, important part of the reason the customers are using your service. One thing that we're seeing with the DVR capabilities is a lot of customers are seeing that as a sticky feature. And so a lot of customers are actually adding DVR services capabilities to all their customers. However, as part of the packages, they might be looking at a single solution. There we go. A single recording, minimal bucket size, and then be able to step up the capabilities in the different packages. The other thing that's out there is, and this is probably more important, and we're going to talk about this a little bit further down in the presentation, but customers are looking at having more of a traditional look and feel when they step into they don't really want to do a big change. And we'll talk about, what Innovative Systems is providing to help meet that requirement. All right. And then this look here, as you can see, I talked about the streamers taking a big jump, this year. This year really does show that there's a lot of streamers that, was added streaming capabilities, but are not using a traditional TV service. And you can see that, typically the non-streamers or TV service took a big decrease this year. Now, as part of these numbers, when you look at that, we do have a lot of the, dish services, satellite providers out there that have seen significant decreases. A lot of your traditional cable providers that are in rural markets have not done, much to upgrade their services. And so, you might be seeing that they really are stepping away to get more of a, feature set that they're looking for, more capabilities. Things that are still prevalent in the streaming world is app fatigue, content moving from one app to the other. And I think that's where, with our streamers with TV service, that's stayed pretty consistent. And I think that's just if somebody has the existing TV service, they're able to augment with streaming capability. All right. And then again, as stated, if you're interested in this study, feel free to reach out to Scott Sobolewski or myself, and we'll have our email addresses at so as part of a fully hosted solution, probably the big thing is what is this service, what this service is. It is a video as a service. Our partner with Aureon is a really good partner, provides a lot of the capabilities, and we'll talk about how that network looks over the next couple of slides. It does replace out your legacy video system, and it allows you to have the ability to get advanced features, especially maybe if you're a cable provider or you've got a legacy IPTV system. You're able to step up and get a lot of advanced features as part of the service. Gives you that modern look and feel, and we'll walk through that in the upcoming slides. Chad and Tim with Aureon, is able to provide this service. It allows you to step out of the head-end requirements. But probably the biggest part of this is allowing this a solution is only set up for streaming, and allows you now to start using consumer devices that are out in the market. And I talked about and kind of teased a little bit about a modern set-top box option that we'll talk about. Kind of brings in still legacy look and feel, especially for those customers that struggle. What the service is not is it doesn't provide a solution to legacy set-top boxes. It does not have multicast IPTV, and it does not feed into the cable TV. Now, probably Chad, I'll probably just maybe have you kind of cover a little bit on the Aureon side, and then we'll walk through a couple of network drawings that's coming up of what's your solutions.
Yeah, so we have a number of options when it comes to who we can serve, the different types of providers. You can be an ISP, you could be a WISP. We've got munis if you are a power company, of course ILECs and CLECs, traditional cable providers. It's all can be customized, basically working with Innovative and Aureon to fit your particular situation. And that's something over the years that each solution, we work with you to make sure that it's fitting the type of organization that you are and what your subscribers need in your community. And so this first slide that you see is the on-premise solution, and that's what uh, organizations have done for years, where they put the hardware, the bulk of it, at their site. And you can take time offline to kind of look and see, but basically you've got the InnoStream at your location, close to your subscribers, and that's the traditional model that's been used for many years. But what we're focused on today is the hosted solution, and what you see here, Aureon's part of it, is uh, basically unchanged. Our traditional role has been to acquire the content provider signals and make them available. Where the model is different here is Innovative is putting their hardware at Aureon's location, and that allows you to not have to put that equipment at your location. And Jerry, you want to talk a little bit more about how that part of this platform works?
Yeah, so we're going to bring in the national channels. We typically going to bring in your off-air channels from your location. Sometimes we'll have to look at some regional channels, regional sports, maybe some local channels of how that would be fed in. Those signals then would all be ingested into the InnoStream, just like it was on the last solution. This then is managed by Innovative Systems, so we're bringing in the feeds. We're able to go with our relationship with Aureon, be able to manage the content as it's coming in. Typically going to have those encoders located, in conjunction with the InnoStream, so that as we are able to bring those systems in, we'll be able to manage the content. Then the content is packaged up for the streaming solution. This then is transported over using Aureon's national transport capability to a POP location. Currently Omaha and Kansas City. They have several locations also within the state they can hand off to. That is always, possibly things that can be reviewed as if there's a big enough opportunity, possibly expanding out to additional POP locations. There we go. Technical capabilities. Oh, went back. So with the solution, using the streaming, but be able to maximize the transport on the maximize the transport capability through that POP location. We actually are going to put a caching server at your location. That transport then will allow us kind of replicate a multicast. So if any of you guys have done anything on the video with multicast, it'll be a single channel going from the InnoStream down to the InnoCache. And so 1.6 meg signal comes into the InnoCache system within your network, and then all 50 customers or whoever is watching content within your network are only having to come back to that InnoCache. And so it really maximizes that national transport and then keeps the majority of the traffic within your network. Now that then is delivered to your infrastructure, to your customers, whatever that technology is, and is using the internet capability within your network to the end customer.
And Jerry, just kind of jump in here, because Tim said the bottom of the slide is a little cut off. The devices that you see at the bottom of the slide it kind of runs the gamut. You've got your Android TV, Amazon Fire, Apple, Roku, Android and iOS, web browser. You can probably see the Android TV set-top boxes, but Amino and Evolution are there. For managed video on set-top boxes, the features that are there, I think you're going to go into a lot of these, but the things listed there are the virtual remote, multicast or ABR, routed set-top box, channel stats, video management, system and feature usage. So I'll let Jerry go into the details there, but just didn't want you to think you were missing a bunch of information down there at the bottom of the slide.
Yep, and that's a good point that we will be able to make the actual slides available, so you'll be able to get the full picture here. So the thing that Chad and I run into all the time is, as we get the customers who are out there looking at providing the video service, you can be an existing video provider out there. You could be a new customer. That's probably one thing that we've had a lot of customers come on board recently that were providing video voice services, ISPs, WISPs that have looked at be able to get into new areas. But if they have to compete, they just struggle without having a video offering. So this year we've had a lot of
We seem to have some audio
customers,
trouble
well,
from
to
Jerry.
be able to get to the streaming rights, the one considerably over the last couple of years. As I was discussing, the thing that Chad and I really have worked out over the last couple of years is be able to get streaming content available, getting it approved. As you look at this today, a lot of capabilities are available. If you're an existing NCTC member, they've got streaming rights that you can get added. We also have got a couple of partners that allow you to actually become a member, and then you can just use their membership as the ability to have streaming rights, and that's Vivacast and NRTC. One thing we do have, especially here in Iowa and other areas of the United States, is we have a lot of service providers that have shared consolidated services. Well, you can also look at that with the video content rights. You could have somebody that's an NCTC member providing the service today, and instead of going and getting your own rights, you can just you let them have basically manage the video customers for you, and then you would just pay them X amount of dollars to be able to be able to have that service on your platform. The one thing with all these agreements, though, is they do take paperwork, they do take some management, and we've actually got a couple of very good partners with VantagePoint and Cooperative Network Services. They take a lot of the pain and suffering out of managing those content rights, can keep that documents, get them up to corrected in place for streaming, and then be able to keep those up every time they need to be renewed. I'll go ahead and turn it back over here to Chad to talk about what they're bringing as part of the national transport rights and what we've gone through back and forth with the technical questionnaires.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, what you're looking at with the Aureon portion of the work with the content providers is transport rights. So basically, when you look at the first item on this slide, you see NCTC. For most subscription television providers, that is where you get the bulk of your programming rights. So that's the first silo of all the paperwork is programming rights. And that's what determines the rate you pay to the content providers. But the second silo of all that paperwork is the transport rights, which is saying, how are you actually getting the signal? And that's, do you have a receiver in your own head end or in your own office, or are you getting it from a third party? So when you work with Aureon, we're that third party. You need transport rights. And there is basically for the most part, a set of paperwork for 50% of the content providers. And it isn't as if there's not work for the rest of the content providers. It's just that their process is mostly via email. Instead of doing paperwork, you go through a question and answer period via email where they say, yes, you're okay to take the signal for our programming through Aureon. And that process itself is one that takes should take probably 30 to 60 days, but in reality with content providers takes about 90 to 120 days is what we're seeing. And that's you know, dependent mostly on the content providers, frankly, not really dependent on your pace. Most of the time what I see is our clients are very eager to get the paperwork done and they turn it in very quickly, and Aureon turns it around as quickly as possible to the content providers. Then it's a matter of waiting on the content providers and constantly reaching out to them to say, hey, where's the authorization? And if it was a matter of you could launch your lineup without one of the major content providers, well, then you might launch in 30 days or 60 days. But most subscription TV providers aren't willing to do that. They want to launch with their full lineup. And so you're waiting for one of them, you know, whether it's NBCU or Turner or Discovery. I mean, it depends on the year. It depends on who's recently fired all of their reps. And a lot of times that's what it boils down to, or who's merging with who. Right now it's Discovery. Warner Brothers is now Warner Brothers, Discovery, Turner, and HBO. And if you've worked with any of them, you know, none of them were wonderful to work with separately. I would say the good news is that the one that was the easiest to work with out of those three is the one that's going to be in charge when everything's said and done. So knock on wood, hopefully they're still the easiest to work with out of those three. But I try to support our clients as much as possible in that process, get you going. But what I don't believe in is, you know, sugarcoating it. I want your timelines to be realistic. So that 90 to 120 days, that's realistic. But we want to be there as much as possible to support you in that process. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Jerry to talk a lot more about the devices.
Yep, and as stated with Chad, you know, on those content, yeah, it's pretty much nationwide. Everything that Chad's seeing, we've pretty much seen it all across the nation. So looking at the devices that are available, pretty much anything you're wanting to bring to the solution is available as part of our streaming solution today. Amazon Fire is by far the most popular service that's out there. I think we see that just in the reliability, feature capability of the devices from Amazon Fire. We've also, you know, NCTC has had a resale agreement with the Amazon Fire devices. So I think, really seen a lot of people looking at, you know, having capability that they can offer their end customers, and it gives them a resale opportunity. We do have Android TV capability both on the managed and unmanaged app side. Apple TV, if you've got Apple TV users in your network, they, you know, basically are religious users and really do want the Apple TV or app on their devices. Roku was the first one that's out. I've got a slide that kind of talks about market penetration. Roku has had the market penetration for years. The thing that we see with Roku is several devices that are deployed typically are just underpowered. They work, but not going to work reliably without possibly creating calls. So with that, we actually have a supported device list that we work on. We work to keep updated, and then that's available for you to have when you go out to your end customers. The one thing when you look at the devices is you don't need to go out with everything under the sun. Things to really consider when you do look at streaming is the more apps you go out with, the more devices you go out with, the more training you got to provide to your staff. And also, you've got to train your customers. And so if you do limit it, maybe to the Amazon Fire getting started, and then add in additional apps or devices as you move forward, that'll help you get to market faster. We do strongly recommend you rolling out with the My TVs app. That's the mobile version for Android and iOS. That's the cell phone and tablet support. We also do have a web portal option. Those capabilities, I'll talk a little bit more about it a little bit later on another slide, how it really does enhance your capabilities of turning up a customer while they're still in your office. All right. So one piece of the puzzle that we brought to the streaming world is the 5041W managed set-top box. It blends the linear video capabilities into the streaming world. This device can actually hook up in the streaming world. Can be hooked up just like a Amazon Fire stick via wireless. You can hook in wired connection. However, it uses all our back office tools that we've spent, like I said, the last almost 15 years developing to make our product very strong, be able to support the video option. It also then provides more of a traditional video feel for your end customers, uses traditional set-top boxes, or excuse me, remotes that they've been accustomed to today, and capabilities. Our back office tools, virtual remote, our install app, both work with the set-top box. A lot of the logging, testing, and troubleshooting capability is then available. It still fits in the unicast world. We're able to manage through the routed devices. The ABR signals, as stated, with the same video signals that are coming into the Fire TV device is also coming into this box. So you don't have to have a separate set of signals to actually have the set-top box operate. I've got another slide that I'll talk about the Wi-Fi capabilities here, but it does fit in the Wi-Fi world, and then we've got some capability to help try to manage the Wi-Fi better. Another big thing that it does is, compared to a lot of the new devices out there, is it has CEC controls. So you can do the HDMI input change just by pushing buttons on the remote. This here is showing our virtual remote feature. And so this is one of those back office tools that really drive down truck rolls. And this allows you to actually control the customer's experience without having to go to the customer sites. One of our biggest items is to be able, in the streaming world, is minimize installs. And so if a customer does do their own install or has to be have some assistance with troubleshooting, well, instead of doing a truck roll, CSRs or techs can just get into the virtual remote and actually control the device at the customer's house. Now, if it's an Amazon Fire, these capabilities are not available. So if you do have customers that struggle with technology, this could be a really good tool to have along with your streaming solution. All right. And so this slide here now is showing how the 5041 can actually fit into a Wi-Fi network. It has a couple of capabilities. One, it can actually still hook back to the gateway router and connect up that way. But it also has a unique capability of being able to be an access point to where if we can wire from the gateway into one of our set-top boxes, we can configure it to be an access point, and then we can actually manage the Wi-Fi out to the other devices. And then again, now we can use our install app to actually manage and control the Wi-Fi network within the customer's house. And then as part of our slide, now this is not the Super Bowl this year, this would have been last year's Super Bowl. But this is just showing you what devices are out there that were used for streaming the Super Bowl. As you can see, Roku and Amazon Fire still, are dominant. Roku has been losing a lot of the market share. Apple TV has been probably pretty consistent around the 15% for multiple years here. And then you can see Android TV really hasn't got much of a market presence in the streaming world yet today. All right. So what we'll do right now is just kind of a quick look and feel. This is where we are going to probably strongly recommend you reaching out to us. Look to get one of our test streaming accounts, and you can actually be able to do the look and feel at your office, at your house. But give you a quick look and feel of what it looks like, what your end customers' experience will be. The first one here is our Amazon Fire TV and Android TV. They really do have the same look and feel, same SDK to be able to develop to. This here, as you can see, has got grid guide capability. Started off way back when we first got into streaming quite a few years ago, looking at more of a poster look and feel, and really got pushed back to really getting it more of a to a traditional feel with the grid guide, and definitely is a lot more acceptance. Got channel numbers in here to match up with if what you have today, or if you're going into a competitor's area, you can really kind of match up with the channel lineup in the area. As part of this, then we have an info page, allows you to get in here and see what are the next shows coming up, the metadata information, tracking bar features. To be able to hit the watch, you can set recordings from here or search when the content's coming up. We've got a DVR page to where the customer can come in and manage their DVRs. Nice thing with our solution is it's cloud DVR based, so all your DVR recordings are going to be kept on the NanoStreams as part of this hosted solution. Doesn't matter what devices you have in that customer's house. It might have a 5041. You might blend that with, an Amazon Fire in the bedroom, or maybe they had an Apple TV already down in the basement. Well, the cloud DVR will play across any of those devices. And again, any one of those devices can be managed. This includes your mobile app, the mobile apps with the phone or tablet. The same cloud DVR recordings are available through the devices and can be managed. These next couple screen captures are just really showing you how Apple TV really does compare to the look and feel of the Amazon Fire. So you can mix and match even the devices inside the house, and the customer really isn't having to do a big learning curve between the devices. And then the next one here is the Roku TV. All right, so we'll go ahead and talk about some features that are coming up. That's probably a lion's share of our development is really driving towards streaming. And I think we've got some really good features that are coming up that'll continue to, put us on par or start really, I think, getting us ahead of a lot of the other streaming services that are out there today. Recently, we included an IMDb capability as part of the guide. I'll give you a quick look and feel of that. Thumbnail capability, so you can move back and forth within the content. We've added a really nice, basically homepage feature page called For You. And I'll give you a quick look and feel, but it really does allow a customer to get to content quickly without having to try to get into the guide and look for content. Enhancements to my TVs. We have VOD purchases capable. One thing that working with Chad on, and I'll probably have him cover a little bit here, is ad insertion capability and their partnership with ICANN. So let me kind of pause just for a moment. Let Chad kind of talk about what kind of partnership they have with ICANN, and then I'll just pick up the features again here.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, so Aureon for many years has partnered with ICANN, which is the Independent Cable Advertising Network, and they will do basically the heavy lifting when it comes to ad insertion, as far as selling the spots and taking care of the scheduling and all of that part. And then they do a share with the provider, you as the subscription television provider, revenue share. It's one of the few real opportunities, depending on your market location and how many subscribers you have, to actually make some, positive revenue on video. So if you, have a medium to larger subscriber count, or you're in a market that is desirable for advertising, I would encourage you to consider that when you're modeling whether or not you should do video or continue to do video, and add that possibility of doing ad insertion into your model. Because with some of our mid to larger size providers, they have considered that a vital part of their deployment. And Innovative has worked very closely with those providers to make sure that it would function properly on the streaming platform. And as such, that's going to be available to new companies as they come on and want to deploy. So something to consider. Go ahead here and
I think that's a good point that's worth mentioning, just that's additional revenue opportunities beyond the traditional models that most people have kind of entered the market with, or at least evaluated as part of their business model. That ICANN potential is one of those opportunities above and beyond just the subscriber revenue that is generated. So it is absolutely a good idea to investigate and explore that if you're looking at different options within video.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. We're trying to drive more revenue into video as much as we possibly can, and definitely ad insertion is one of those tools. So kind of getting back into some of the new feature capability that's coming. As you can see on this, we have this IMDb capability. Look and feel as being added into here, so you can subscribers are trying to incorporate more of the online capability, so that younger group is really stuff that they're looking at having as part of their video service. Quick ratings, so if they're looking at a show, is it something that they want to watch, maybe it's something they don't want to watch because maybe it has a high or low rating. All right, this here is the thumbnail look and feature, so you can actually go jump into content, go back into content for to see if you want to jump forward. You're looking for getting past commercials. These are things that can help you out on that. This is a lot of the things that you do see, like with Netflix or Hulu, where they have a thumbnail capability to be able to jump forward and into content. And then this is showing you as you're looking forward, as going, moving the status bar of where that status bar is at with the show. So the next couple slides here are really showing you what that For You page is. So I, showing you the channel guide. Typically, when you launch the app, it goes into the channel guide, gets you back into the customer wherever they were last watching. By hitting the menu, you can jump over to this one page to where it's actually bringing up channels that you typically are watching. This is a For You solution. The next one would be movies that are popular, within the area. Also popular in your area is with us having channel stats capability. We can bring that as part of the solution. We also movies that are on soon, that are coming up, so you can jump to the movies without having to go into the guide to find content. But then the recent recordings right down below there. So you can actually just stay on this one page, have kind of more of a poster look and feel for the streaming look, but be able to get to your content and might not have to go into the guide to try to find content. And then this is the ability to actually rent then VOD content and then be able to move that across the different streaming devices. All right. And so those are the features that are really becoming available with our hosted solution. We also have got some stuff that's really coming up. Hopefully we're looking at towards the end of this year to be able to have these capabilities early part of next year, looking at a 72-hour catch up. And that's going back 3 days then into content to be able to do restart, to be able to view, set up recordings, series recordings. All that can be built in with the 72-hour look back. And that really puts you on par with most any of the services that are out there. Incorporating weather into the streaming apps. Sports enhancements. We're going to probably see a lot of this be able to come into our guide capability. Cloud DVR, no problem there. Having the capability with Cloud DVR, be viewable in hours, and I've got a slide coming up on that, and I'll talk a little bit about how to roll out streaming services. Be able to have geo addressing, and this is allowing you to target areas with the geo addressing capability. We are hopefully able to help with some firewall capability, especially in today's market. We still strongly recommend you have your own firewall capability to be able to help you to fend off. Typically with our streaming services, it is flowing towards the internet side, so you do want to have as much protection as possible. We also have our encoder capability. That's the encoding that's typically going to take care of your local channels, possibly regional sports channels. As part of this, we're adding our N+1 failover capability, and then also the SCT add insert marker pass through. And this is the capability Chad was talking about with ICANN, to be able to have the markers in there as part of the different streams, as part of the ABR streams that are being deployed. All right, so this is showing how we're able to do the Cloud DVR space in hours. The one thing that we have really done with our streaming service is really wanted the customer to take care of themselves, that allow them to be able to help discuss the service with your techs, your CSRs. So here they've got their service reference number available. They've got what account they're on, the actual device they're using. They can come in here and add and remove devices. You get to manage the devices from 1 to 20 devices on an account to 1 to 20 simultaneous streams on the account. And you can package that as part of the service. With, that's okay. Yeah. So as part of, we'll go ahead. We're getting close down here to the end, so we'll go ahead and bring this to the end and see if there's any questions. As stated earlier, feel free to send any one of us an email. We'll work to get you set up on a test and an account. Also, if you wanted to get the video and broadband study that Innovative Systems put together, please reach out to Scott or myself. And we do greatly appreciate your time today. And I'll turn it over, Tim. I don't know if you've seen any questions come in. But if you have, we can definitely take some questions.
Yeah, we have. And before we get to the questions, I just wanted to add a couple of things on the tail end that if you're at all interested, I would definitely reach out to the group that's on your screen right now and get connected with a demonstration account of some sort, because I've been to a number of shows with Jerry and team. And their presence there is outstanding. They get to show you the different looks and feels of the different apps, which are completely customizable. And that really helps brand it towards your company's look and feel, and make sure that you're a unified look and feel in your communities. But just as importantly, it talks about these devices and how easy it is to add devices, and work through that with your customer. So that's just one of those where we want to keep those up and keep that going forward. So I'll get to the questions. John Kelly has asked a number of good questions that we want to get addressed. So first question we'll jump to, and I answered it within the actual exchange, but which streaming devices are considered the best or outlook on the supported device list? I know that was answered within the presentation itself on a slide there, Jerry, but if you could summarize the devices that are supported, and if there's a place to get that information or who to best contact for it.
Yeah, Jerry, the supported devices, Innovative keeps that list active on your customer portal, correct? And so that, we've got on the presentation, you've got the, overarching names, Amazon Fire or whatever. But if you go, once you're an Innovative client and you have the service, there's a specific device list that includes the actual model numbers. So you can see, exactly which device is getting down to the, version 3.5.2. Whatever it is. So because there are some, older Rokus or whatever, and that, don't have enough oomph to support, the grid guide and other features that you wouldn't want the client to even try, because the experience wouldn't be a good one.
Okay. Is oomph an official technical term?
That is official. Yeah, I don't remember what the letters stand for, but
Okay. Next one, I'm probably going to want to make sure that Jerry has the headset just so
okay.
he can hear the question. But what we're looking at is more of an industry type of knowledge, and I know Chad has a great deal as well. But the question that is being asked is there a date near where streaming TV will be our only option or only thing? And I wanted to make sure that Jerry chimed in there. Hopefully Jerry's able to hear that.
Yeah, just making sure I understand that it would be the only option with the hosted is streaming.
I think the question was more of a industry, outlook. Do you see it as a streaming only offering, and the linear TV is no longer available?
Yep. So I'll make hopefully this kind of fits going down that path of what we see. Let me trying to deal with the sound backups here. So give me just there we go. So what we're seeing in there is linear still definitely has a play today. It probably will have some kind of fine timeline on it as the devices that are out there continue to age up. There is a lot of new set-top boxes, even like the 5041W, it actually plays in the linear world or the streaming world. So it's able to make the migration into the future. I would say, like for us, is lion's share of our development goes towards streaming, and just allowing the capability, excuse me, allowing the capability to meet the new devices that are coming out, where all the new features are being driven towards. Just customers' viewing habits also that are being modified. As in for service providers, you'll probably, if you've got existing set-top boxes, you probably got a few more years that you're going to want to leverage those set-top boxes, and that's kind of where, with our MGTV capability, is we can fit both in the linear and the streaming. But I would say over a period of time, is most capability will probably move to streaming.
Perfect. That's very good insight. I know that from an Aureon perspective, we are supporting linear and don't have any immediate plans to say there is a cutoff date of any kind, and that would be something that would be communicated extensively with our existing customer base well in advance. That's just not a shift that we see in the immediate future for for our solutions, but even for the industry itself. I mean, there is a significant need for linear solutions out there, and Aureon will continue to support on both sides in the best way that we can. Want to do a follow-up?
Let me add just one thing on that, Tim, real quick, before we do run out of time here, is the nice thing about your signal that you're providing today is it is being, if you do just the head-end transport solution, kind of outside of the hosted capability, it's a multicast signal that fits in the linear world, but it's already formatted where in the InnoStream we can bring that in and then turn it around into streaming also at the same time. So you can actually have both linear and streaming within that same platform.
Absolutely. A lot of flexibility there, and that's really in support with our partnerships and our customers in mind. So fantastic add on there, Jerry. I appreciate that. Let's see. We are actually at the end of our time, and we want to be respectful of everybody's time. What we're going to go ahead and do is any questions that remained unanswered, we're going to include that information in our FAQ that we share along with the recording and the slides, and we'll answer any questions that were remaining at the end of the webinar. We want to make sure that we get everybody out and on to the next meetings. We really appreciate your time. This has been a fantastic session. We look forward to being in contact with everyone and answering any questions that we can. You guys have a great day, okay?